Hey guys, thanks for checking out the YouTube page for the SOIC equipment checkout. We're here to teach you about all of the equipment that we have in the equipment checkout, how to set it up, and how to use it to make everything easier for you. Today we're going to be covering the Canon 90D. This is available to all students in the Media Arts and Science program here at SOIC. You'll notice this is not a cinema camera, but this is a DSLR, which means that it is capable of doing both photo and video. For our purposes, we'll be doing just video. But because it is a DSLR, it's a smaller form factor, which makes it really easy to take places and really easy to rig up. The Canon 90D in the kit will come with an 18 to 135 lens. Now this is really useful because all the way from 18 to 135, you pretty much never have to take this lens off, and you can use it for just about anything. Now, it is a variable aperture lens. What does that mean? So the aperture, as you zoom in and out, is going to change. So when you're all the way out at 18 millimeters, you're going to get a 3.5 aperture. When you zoom all the way in to 135, you're going to be at a 5.6 aperture. So make sure you keep this in mind when you're shooting. If you set your aperture while you're zoomed out and then you zoom in, your aperture is probably going to change and the scene's going to get darker. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you're setting your aperture with this lens. Now, if you don't want to worry about that, we also have two Sigma lenses available. We have the Sigma 18 to 35 as well as the Sigma 50 to 100, depending on what kind of shooting that you're doing. Now both of these lenses are aperture 1.8. Now 1.8 gives you a really good shallow cinematic depth of field and also lets in a lot more light than a 3.5 to 5.6. So why would you use this? Apart from the 1.8 just looking more cinematic, this is also really useful if you're shooting indoors or in lower light situation. That lower aperture is going to give you a lot more light in your scene and allow you to keep your ISO down so you don't have so much grain, and it looks really nice. So if you're checking out the 90D, make sure you also have a look at the Sigma lenses because those might be better for your uses. We also have a rig for the Canon 90D. So if you're looking for that, make sure you jump down into the description and find the chapter for that. For those of you here to learn the camera, we're going to go ahead and jump into how to use all the settings and how to go through all of your menu options to make sure that your camera is ready to shoot before you go to film. As a disclaimer to everybody, when you check out something from the equipment checkout, everything should have both a memory card and a battery. Make sure that you have both a battery and a battery charger in the case or in the camera. And make sure that you have a memory card. If it's not in the camera, make sure that you ask for one and you check one of those out as well, because there's nothing worse than getting to the set and having a dead battery and no memory card. So make sure that you have a memory card and a fully charged battery before you head out to shoot. Now let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing you want to do when you check out a new camera is to make sure all of your settings are correct. So first, we're going to select this dial on the top and make sure it's set to the M, the manual mode. Then we're going to turn the camera on using this switch here. Make sure that it's set to the movie recording mode and select the menu button. We're going to go to the camera icon, select movie recording quality, movie recording size, and make sure you're at 4K at 23.98. Then we're going to go back using the menu button. Then we're going to head on over to the wrench and format the card. Once you've formatted the card, you're going to hit the menu button to go back to the main screen, and we're going to set our shooting settings. Make sure that you're at 1/50th, and then you can adjust any of these settings down here by touching on the screen and dragging left to right, or you can adjust your shutter speed with this dial on top, ISO with this button that's indented on top, and you can adjust your aperture with this dial on the back. Now you can also access your quick settings using this Q button here on the screen or the one just to the right. Here, you can have all of your quick settings for shooting and audio options, but mainly we're going to use it over here to set our white balance. You can use auto white balance in a pinch, or they have presets for daylight at 5600 Kelvin, all the way down to tungsten at 3200. But for a lot of scenes, you're going to want to manually set that right here in this mode to whatever your lights are in the scene. Then we're going to go back by using the Q button again, and you're ready to shoot. To start recording, press the start and stop button right up here where you selected movie mode, and you're ready to go. Now, Canon 90D also has a rig that you can check out, both for the tripod and as a shoulder rig. I'm going to show you how to put it together. This is the rig for the Canon 90D. Now, the 90D can be used handheld, or you can rig it up for a tripod or a shoulder rig. Here's everything that'll come in the case when you reserve the case with the 90D. It comes with this base rig, which has everything that you'll need to start. It has your quick release plate, your handles both for the sides and for the top. Now what will be separately will be this matte box, which allows you to put filters in and out without having to screw anything on or off the lenses. You'll also have a focus puller, a counterweight for the shoulder rig, your pad for the shoulder rig, and the cage screws to mount the top handle. So the first thing you're going to want to do is grab your focus puller, because this is going to affect where everything mounts forward and backwards wise. So you'll notice it has two screws, one on the side and one on the bottom. This one on the side affects the clamps, so you're going to make sure that that's loose before you put it on the rails. And the one on the bottom affects it sliding in and out. So you're going to make sure both of those are loose before you get started. Now you're going to put that on the rig in this gap as you see here. You're going to make sure the ring is facing outward and your handle is to the left. You are then going to put this on the rails and tighten it on this outside ring. You're going to keep going until it's nice and snug and it doesn't slide anywhere. Now you're going to want to make sure that that bottom one is loose, so that way this can slide in and out. So that way it's out of the way when you mount your camera. Next thing is your quick release plate. So just like the quick release plate on everything we have here, you're going to loosen the tab on the side, press in on the bottom, and pull your quick release plate out. You're going to then mount this to the bottom of your camera. Make sure that the side with the black pad is towards the back so that way you can mount your camera properly. Once you have your quick release mounted, you're going to go ahead and slide that in from the back towards the front. Make sure you slide it in smoothly. And this is where you're going to line up both your focus ring on the camera and your focus ring on the rig. So you're going to slide it slowly forward until these two line up and these gears meet. Then you're going to go ahead and tighten down your camera with this handle on the side, right here, until it's nice and snug and that camera's not going anywhere. Then, to make this easy on you, especially if you're doing it on a tabletop, you're going to go ahead and pop out the lower handles. So you're going to pick up your rig and twist these handles out. You're going to twist them straight and then make sure you tighten them righty-tighty, and these are friction mounts, so make sure you do these pretty tight so that way they don't rotate on you while you're trying to use it. You're going to put it back on the table, and this will allow you easy access to the handle to tighten down your focus ring. Once that is tight, it's time to put the matte box on. Now the first thing you want to do when you put the matte box on is you're going to want to stretch this a little bit of elastic here to keep light from leaking in. You're going to want to put that around the edge of the lens. Once you have that around the edge of the lens, you're going to place it on the ends of the rails and slide it in. Make sure you do this slowly and smoothly so you don't ram it into the camera. Once you push it all the way in, you're going to put that all the way back, and then you're going to tighten it down using this handle on the side. And remember, never over tighten anything. If you have to force anything, you're probably doing it wrong. So make sure you just do that till it's nice and snug, giving you a little bit of resistance, and that won't go anywhere. And now you have your barn doors and your matte box all set up and ready to go. The last thing we're going to do before we're ready for tripod mounting is to put the top handle on. So you're going to rotate this down over the top of the camera, find your bag of cage screws, and you're going to screw these in to the side. Once you have all those snug, then your camera is ready to be mounted on a tripod. Now, these handles here make it easy for mounting, but they're really made for the shoulder rig. So if they get in the way while you mount it on the tripod, you can loosen these up and slide them off the ends. And you'll see on the bottom, there's easy mounting for a tripod. And that handle that we just put on the top has some screws for you to mount an external monitor to your camera if you desire. Now you can also set this up as a shoulder rig with just a few extra pieces. Also in the case, you will find extension poles. Now each of these extension poles has a cap on the end. You can screw these off really easily. Just make sure that you put these back in the case and you do not lose these, because these are really easy to have roll off on set. So make sure you put these back in your case before you attach them. Once you've removed the caps from either end, you can raise your camera and these screw simply onto the end of the existing poles. Once you have those screwed on, you're going to grab your shoulder pad. This you'll see has grooves down the top. This simply pops onto the end of the rails and slides on to wherever you need it that mounts best for you. And then you just add your counterweight for the back. Make sure you have the weight facing outwards so that way it's not hitting you in the shoulder. And then you just tighten that down on the top and you're ready to go shoot as a shoulder rig. So there you have it, the 90D. Perfect for use handheld as well as on a shoulder rig or rigged up on a tripod. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have questions on anything else in the equipment checkout, make sure you check out the rest of the YouTube channel. Have fun shooting.